Here's how to play Is That Sheep Looking at Me the card game. Your goal is to have the largest flock of sheep in your field at the end of the game. To get a new game set up, start by shuffling the deck and then deal every player 5 cards that only they can see. Put the remaining deck face down in the middle of the table, creating a draw pile, and reserve some space off to one side for a discard pile. Every player also needs an area of the table in front of them as their field, where they will build and collect their flock. And whoever saw a real-life sheep most recently goes first, and play moves clockwise around the table. So how exactly do you make sheep? You've got to play a valid sheep from your hand into your field. The most obvious valid sheep is with a head and a butt of the same colour. What a lovely little sheep. If you're lucky enough to have a rainbow head, you can use it to make a valid sheep with any colour butt you like. And the same would be true with a rainbow butt and any colour head. And having both a rainbow head and a rainbow butt together, a full rainbow sheep is born, which is worth 2 points at the end of the game. You can also make valid sheep with the help of a modifier card. A paint modifier lets you combine any colour head and any colour butt together, because you're just covering it all in paint anyway. Science! The Franken modifier lets you combine a butt with a butt, or a head with a head, creating these monstrosities. Science? As well as making valid sheep from your hand, you can also body swap with sheep like these that already exist in a field. This half rainbow sheep here, if it was in your own field and you now have a rainbow butt card in your hand, you could swap out the mint butt and hey presto, you've just upgraded your sheep. Or take this painted sheep. It's in an opponent's field. If you've got an orange butt or a green head, you could complete the sheep in their field, and not only do you take the green butt back to your hand, but you also take the modifier card too. This Franken sheep here, have you got a red butt or a yellow butt? Yes? Then body swap it. As long as you're leaving a complete matching sheep behind, you can't go wrong. Now, as well as making sheep, you can also play an action card. Play a yoink card at an opponent to blindly steal 2 cards from their hand. Yoink! If you have a weak card, you can play it to lure a sheep from anyone's field over to yours. However, if they have a double-butted Franken sheep, this protects their entire flock from wheat cards, as it's got no mouth to eat the wheat with, so no wheating that player. Similarly, using a wolf card allows you to remove someone's sheep from their field and completely discard it. Unless that player has a double-headed Franken sheep in their field, as it can see the wolf coming, no wolfing them. And the last action card is the reflip. But first, let's talk about the Is That Sheep Looking at Me cards. These 5 bad boys bring nothing but chaos. You play them at an opponent of your choice, but to win the card's effect, you need to correctly predict whether the sheep coin is or isn't looking at you before it's flipped. And if you're wrong, then your opponent uses the card's effect against you. I told you, pure chaos. Here's what the cards can do. Lure 2 sheep. The winner of the flip moves 2 sheep of their choice from their opponent's field directly into their own. Remove 2 sheep. Very similar, except the sheep are moved directly to the discard pile. Bye-bye. Yoink entire hand. Yep, the winner of the flip takes the entire hand from the loser and adds it to their own. Halve 2 sheep. If you win, take the head or butt from a sheep in your opponent's field, including the modifier card if there was one, and then do the same to a second sheep from their field. Your opponent must pick up the remaining bits back to their hand. Recover 1 sheep. The winner gets to temporarily put their hand down, pick up the discard pile, and play any valid sheep from the pile into their field. Then they resume their original hand. And because these cards are so powerful, there's a few extra rules about using them. So, you can't play more than 1 of these per turn, they will break through Franken sheep protections, and you'll lose 3 points for each of them you're still holding onto at the end of the game. Which brings us back to the reflip card. If you aren't happy with the outcome of a coin flip and you have a reflip card, well, you're in luck, as you can play it to force a new guess and a new flip, ignoring the previous outcome. Maybe this time it will go your way. So now you know what the cards do, here's what happens on your turn. First, you always start by drawing 1 card from the draw pile. You need at least 3 cards in your hand, so if needed, continue drawing cards until you have 3. Then it's time to play some cards. Make sheep, body swap sheep, play action cards, or play an Is That Sheep Looking at Me card in any order you like. You can play as much or as little as you want. You can even choose to do nothing. Once you've played all the cards you want to, you're ready to end your turn, as long as you've got 7 cards or less. If you have more, you should either play them if you can, or discard them until you only have 7. You can discard any card except an Is That Sheep Looking at Me card. To let everybody know that your turn is over, proudly bar like a sheep. To recap, at the start of your turn, pick up a card and make sure you have at least 3. Then, play as much or as little as you want, and before buying, make sure you've got 7 cards or less, or you'll have to discard some. The game continues like this until there are no more cards left in the draw pile. Then the final round begins and everyone gets a final turn. After that, it's time to count your sheep. Every sheep in your field is worth 1 point, except double rainbow sheep are worth 2. And Is That Sheep Looking at Me cards that are still in your hand are worth -3 points each. And that is how you play Is That Sheep Looking at Me, the card game. A bar.